Another edition of Tradcat Night, special guest exclusive podcast right here on the tradcatnight.org website. Folks, today is February the 27th, 2021. I hope you all are having a very wonderful and blessed day. As always, keep the programming moving along. Monday through Saturday, typically 3 or 4 guests on every day. On rare occasions, we have 5+ guests. Yesterday, we have 5 guests. Today, we have 5 guests. And one of those guests, keynote speakers that was with us this past month was the Scared or Prepared, Survive and Thrive web conference with Stefan Verstappen, one of the top survivalists from around the world from ChinaStrategies.com. He's joining us again here today, and he's going to be discussing inscrutability, and we're going to be breaking down how to behave in a communist regime. We've done other podcasts discussing guerrilla warfare tactics, especially on localized for your own area. This is how I see things playing out. Listen, we're not going to be able to band together some kind of army as Christians, go out on the battlefield like Gettysburg and fight the New World Order and fight these people. It's not going to happen. That's completely ridiculous. It's going to be more like that Red Dawn movie. You're going to have to we're going to have to roll in packs. Stefan mentioned maybe in your own local area, whether it's 6 to 12, maybe good strong people. I think that was even represented in the Red Dawn movie there. It wasn't a lot of people. I mean, it was probably about a dozen people, if that. And you're going to have to know the ins and the outs. You're going to have to know how to hide in plain sight. You're going to have to know how to use all code to be able to speak. You're going to have to be able to move to and fro as the National Guard starts piling up in your backyard. As who knows what will come, whether it be China or Russia, who knows. Whatever it may be down the road. But so we're going to be breaking that down today. Very excited about that. But our sponsors, before we get started here, very briefly, if I could, is right off the bat, jacksberry.com. Wonderful website. And he's got a specific section on the devotion to the 7 sorrows of Mary. And there's a Father Fort reflection there right on that page. So make sure you check that out. You can put your private intentions there too. He's got a new section, the Catechism of Perseverance there too. That's John Dean's jacksberry.com. We also have David Bain and his Genesis Apparel. Now, Genesis Apparel has wholesale pricing on custom t-shirts, hoodies starting at $4.50. They also provide custom packaging at little to no cost to you. You can contact the owner to place an order. His name is David Bain, last name Baine. So that's David Bain at genesisapparel.us. We also have a new sponsor, a major sponsor on the Catholic side of things. We got Glory and Shine, and they're a prolific company. Richard is the man behind that, and they're doing all kinds of great sponsorship with LifeSite News and Sensus Fidelium and Anthony Stein's Return to Tradition. But they truly have a love for Jesus Christ and the Catholic Church, and they've got self-care products. And they first begin with faith, prayer, love, and hope. Then they always want to combine it with the Catholic faith, inspiration, identity, belief, and devotion. Every item is crafted with deep intention while holding a vision to sharing the gospel throughout ordinary acts of life. The products are good for the mind, body, and soul. That's gloryandshine.com, folks. We also have to make mention of churchsupply.store.com. You can get the remaining Christmas figurines that they have a 50% off the cover price. Wow, that's fantastic. Brian and Karen Kowalski. In the coupon code section there to check out, type in TradCat, capitalize it, get that 50% off at churchsupply.store.com. We also have to make mention of the 3 Days of Darkness kits. Type in, contact Kathleen Loney. That's the woman behind the program, KathleenLLoney@gmail.com. It's the prayer, sacramentals, herbs in accordance with Catholic prophecy. She's doing a fantastic job. Know that there's about a 3 to 4 month lead time on that, so please do place an order today. Last but not least, Chris Gagne is inviting all Catholics to increase their devotion to the holy souls which have gone before us. Chris, thank you so much for being a longtime friend. He's one of the original followers to my work way back when I started Defeat Modernism. If you want to join the sponsorship team, contact me, folks. Plenty of real estate. I got plenty of websites. We got conferences to sponsor. We've got the YouTube channel, reaches thousands outside of the paywall. So please contact me at apostleofmary@hotmail.com. Having said that, here we go with Stefan Verstappen, ChinaStrategies.com. Looking forward to this one. I know you're kind of working on this as we speak. So as much as you can give us, Stefan, we would definitely appreciate it. But I'm right there with you. Kind of have to kind of have to be, how do we put this, almost serpent-like, wolf-like amongst the wolves, got to know the ins and outs, and maybe you could give us some pointers here today.
Okay, thanks for having me back on, Eric. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. Well, this is actually complete. It's a chapter that was going to go in my book, The Art of Urban Survival, but I kind of kept it out because I didn't know if it fit very well. But it's a chapter on inscrutability. And it's based on an old Chinese proverb that says, mastering discretion is greater than employing eloquence. In other words, in the world we are in now, and increasingly so, we're heading into this communist tyranny. Let's make no mistake, we do not live in a democracy. We live in a communist tyranny. And in this world, one of the best pieces of advice I can tell people is to shut up, especially any interaction with government and military and security forces. So the first rule in the art of war is that all is deception. To succeed, you must learn to see your opponent's deception while creating your own. So we have to hide our intentions, our inner goals and desires, and we must suppress nonverbal leakage. In other words, what we are heading into is an era where you will be stopped and questioned more and more often. And in the previous video on urban guerrilla tactics, I talked about having a cover story. And a cover story is standard spycraft. So let's say you and your friend want to meet together so that you can, say, buy something on the black market. Let's say you need some antibiotics. Your 12-year-old daughter is dying from bacterial pneumonia, and the health services are defunct, which they are now anyways. Certainly in anywhere where we have public health, like England and Australia and Canada, they're constantly saying that, the hospitals are overrun and you can't get in. And, well, okay, well, that's fine for you. What about my 12-year-old daughter? Are they going to be able to supply antibiotics so that she will live? And now the question would be iffy. I think you could probably still get them. Maybe there's some place where you can go. The same thing with the United States there. Look at the health insurance premiums. It's insanity, the cost of health insurance. Obamacare, whatever that psychopath signed through at the behest of the pharmaceutical and big medical industries. Who can afford health care in the United States? I mean, people paid there what I used to pay for a mortgage 20 years ago. You're buying the healthcare system a house in order to be able to go visit a doctor. And you don't have a choice in it. So let's say, your 12-year-old daughter, she's sick. You need to get antibiotics. You can't rely on the health system anymore. Not that you ever could, but because they're just going to prescribe you poison anyways. But let's say you can't rely on the healthcare system. So now you've got to go and buy some on the black market. And I think we've talked about this many times before, that the future is the black market, because what if you didn't get your VACCINE? Then you're not allowed to go. You're not allowed to get services if you don't have the health passport. So where are you going to go? Well, you're going to go to the black market. And what if you can't go shopping for groceries anymore because you don't have your little passport or your chip implant? Where are you going to go to buy food? Well, your black market. So now you're going to go meet your friend who is a member of the black market, and you're going to arrange the purchase of antibiotics so you can save the life of your children. Now you decide to meet, let's say, at a coffee shop or at a bar. Oh, wait a minute. Sorry about that. Forget about that. It's the lockdown. You're not allowed to meet at a coffee shop or a bar. So now you're going to meet, say, maybe in the park. Is that still allowed? I doubt it. But let's say you're going to meet in the park. So you're going to sit on the park bench. You're going to slip this guy 2 ounces of silver, because money's going to be useless, of course. And he's going to come back and, get you some penicillin. And but while you're sitting there, suddenly the police are walking up and down, and they approach you and want to know what the hell you're doing sitting on a park bench in a spring morning. So a cover story is a story that you've both agreed on. It's a lie, but you have to all agree on the line. Whoever you're meeting with, you all have to be part of this cover story. And this is a story that you tell the authorities that would justify your being there, but would also not arouse any suspicion. So, for example, if you are going to get together with your survival team, let's say you've taken my advice, you got 5 people to work together, you're all going to support each other, have each other's back, and you're going to do what you need to do to survive the communist tyranny and the secret police. So if you're going for a meeting, let's say in the park, and suddenly the police show up because maybe somebody was informed on you. Remember, under communism, everybody's a snitch. Your brother-in-law, your kids, your wife, your parents, everybody is liable to snitch on you. This is what communism does. It's called mass psychosis, and it turns everybody into a lunatic. So you can't trust no one. So somebody snitches on you. Oh, they're like an anti-government group, and they're trying to buy fresh vegetables on the black market. But right? No, but that's where it's going.
Yeah,
that's exactly where it's going. God forbid you should come up with a treatment for cancer, because you will be deep 60. You will be disappeared. You'll be black bagged.
Mm-hmm.
How many doctors and researchers have died mysteriously because they said hundreds,
mm-hmm.
because they had a different approach to treating cancer. So what, you think they're not coming after you? Yeah, go ahead.
I was about to say, I always wondered about that too, because I bring on some of these top, natural doctors or holistic doctors, and it finally made sense to me again with this guy that I deemed to be the Antichrist. We believe in the Christian world that we're very much on that path to the mark of the beast, and that's one of the things that will be a part of the beast system. Obviously the vaccines are a part of it, but with this whole luciferase program,
Mm-hmm.
it's basically, once you take this, once you take the mark or whatnot, not only are you going to have to pledge yourself to Lucifer, but they'll basically get rid of diabetes. It'll get rid of all the, basically all your problems that the body could have. I mean, it's really going to be like advanced science. So that's why they're getting rid of all these other people that can handle it a different way, because they want to get everyone onto that mark of the beast track. And it never kind of occurred to me like that connection until like really this past half year, in all honesty. So yeah, they don't want us healthy by any stretch of the means.
This has been going on for more than 100 years, ever since the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds completely subverted the medical system and turned it into the killing system. So so cover story. So you get together with your 5 guys. The neighbors are peeking through the curtains at you. They see you in the park. They call the police. The police come. Now, what are you going to tell them? Well, that's why you need a cover story. So everybody in your group now knows that your cover story is you're practicing yoga. It's an excuse of why you 5 people are together in the park. So, I used to teach Tai Chi in the park. So I always have a cover story. Oh, it's our Tai Chi class, or it's our meditation class, or it's something. Never, of course, tell them that we're conspiring to buy fresh food on the black market, because then you'll all be rounded up, put in a van, and that's the last anyone will see of you. Well, don't think I'm being paranoid. This is happening now. Just the last month here in Canada, 6 people came over for a family dinner, and the neighbors snitched on them. Oh, they counted the cars in the driveway. Ooh, 6 people for dinner. They phoned. No, well, this is what happens. It turns everybody.
I've seen it. I've seen the article.
Seen the article, right? So suddenly 20 cops show up, and they're dragging these people, kicking and screaming out and handcuffing them and abusing them. Come on. This is not something that might happen. It's happening right now all around you. And if you don't see it, open your eyes and take a goddamn look around. So that's your cover story. But here's another part to the cover story, and that is you need to be convincing. We live now in a world ruled by psychopaths. Everything you know, everything you've ever been taught is a lie. Everything from the government, from the education system, from the media, from the scientists, all of it, it's a lie. We live in a world of deception and lies, and you got to learn how to navigate in that kind of world. And that's why the Chinese have a saying about being inscrutable. And by being inscrutable, I could make a joke.
That's a tough one.
Inscrutable. That's another word. We also have a lot of men that are inscrutable. Anyways, to be inscrutable means people can't read you, right? You have to hide behind a mask. Oh, wait a minute. We already do hide behind a mask. You see how this is all turning around in on itself? So, to be inscrutable, well, there are three general strategies to prevent giving yourself away. One is to suppress, to disguise, and to manipulate nonverbal communication. So the first one is the king strategy. The king strategy is, for example, we know that among primates, the most dominant member of a primate clan or tribe exhibits the least amount of body movements. So the king of the chimpanzee troop will make the least amount of movements because he's on the top. This is exemplified by, and all this material comes from, The Naked Ape, the book The Naked Ape. You look at the Queen of England. She sits rigid in the carriage as she's being pulled down the street. And what does she do? She puts up one hand and just wags it a little bit side to side. I mean, just the absolute minimum amount of physical movement. But that's because you're in a dominant position. And the more dominant you are, the less body language you will use. Now, contrast this to, say, some guy's at a job interview. And look at his physical movements. He's grooming his hair. He's looking at his watch. He's straightening his collar. He's pulling the cuffs down on the sleeves. He's fidgeting and in his seat. Maybe underneath the desk, you see his foot tapping up and down. You see that a lot of times. A lot of people do that. They tap their foot up and down. It's a dead giveaway that you're in a weak position. So the king strategy is to exhibit as little or as few physical movements as possible. Your face becomes a mask. You don't smile, you don't laugh, you don't frown, you don't cry. It's just a mask. Your hands make only the minimal number of actions when needed to carry out a task, and the rest of the time they are folded on the lap or held behind the back in military fashion. Now, so if your cover story requires that you assume authoritarian position, then you must use this king strategy. So, for example, we've talked about disguises. I have several disguises. One disguise is that I use is emergency search and rescue. I've got my first aid kit. I've got my backpack. I got my yellow helmet. I got a bright red jacket, nylon jacket that says USAR, which stands for Urban Search and Rescue. I got my radio, my handheld ham radio. So now, if I have to give the excuse that I need to get past this police checkpoint because there are children missing in the forest beyond, and I'm part of a volunteer search and rescue group going out to search for them. Now, I need to use the king strategy. I need to show the police at the checkpoint that I am in an authoritarian position. I'm in charge. I'm an alpha male. And so therefore, I need to use the king strategy. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, sorry about that. I was trying to hit my unmute button there and it got stuck. Yeah, no, this is this is something that probably not a lot of people are thinking about. Unfortunately, it was certainly something that I've thought about before because we got 3 strategies here. I wanted to ask you a personal question because you obviously know what we're trying to get accomplished here at TradCat Night. You know, being behind the paywall, it's much more than just the censorship part to it. It is trying to get people organized as best we can around the world. I've got people represented in every country, and I really do mean that. I've been doing what I've been doing now for a decade, so people are following me in China as a part of the underground sort of Catholic Church there due to persecution. I mean, literally every country's following. So I'm trying to create like little networks in their area to uphold sort of the TradCat Night model. So my question for you is, I mean, how do you stay as organized as you can, but at the same time you do have to sort of hide in plain sight. Like when I do media appearances, I'm obviously not talking about this. You don't go out and mention this stuff publicly. Right. But like, how do you do that? I mean, how do you get, groups or cells or networks organized as best you can, given, the structure that we have with the COVID-19 stuff and people hardly able to go out these days. And it's only going to get worse. Like you said, I mean, it's only going to get far worse. But at the same time, you also brought up some interesting points. And this is something that I have known from day one. And it's already been occurring here at TradCat Night is moles. I mean, I've caught moles already inside who have been given information to other traditionalists who I don't like or whatnot, and I've had to remove them from the website. So like I'm well aware like that's going to happen down the road too. But is that like enough for someone to just say, okay, like we know there's going to be moles, like we just don't do anything? You know what I mean? Like we have to try to do something, in my opinion. So maybe you could answer or follow up with some of your thoughts on those 2 questions.
Well, that would take me a lot of time to go into that, Eric, and maybe we can bring that up next month.
Okay, sure, we could do that. We'll write that down.
Yeah, because there's, the other video I'm writing now is my worst nightmare come true, and that is under communism, everybody's a mole. Everybody's a snitch. Everybody's an informant. How do you live under those circumstances? But that's enough information there for a whole program.
Okay. Yeah, I'll write that down for sure for us for next month. Good stuff.
Yeah,
all right. I know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Go.
No, I was about to say you got 2 more points we have to get through too as well. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I wanted to interject that there now because I know there's a lot of listeners who I know will be on their the edge of their seat saying, hey, ask that question. And it's listen, the overall premise to this work wasn't in the beginning like writing. It wasn't even podcasting and stuff on. It was me knowing from a Christian perspective 10 years or so ago that this day would arrive and it's only going to get worse and we were going to have to defend ourselves. Really, I mean, so you go to my website, you'll see TradCat Night /Order of the Eagle, and you're going to see a bunch of militant pictures or whatnot showing, defense from a Christian standpoint. So, and we're going to be demonized. I mean, I pointed this out to people. They're going to call us all kinds of crazy names, right wing, neo-Nazi, whatever. And you're just going to have to take it in stride. And I think that's why a lot of people don't like me is because I don't really give a rat's ass what people have to say about me from the Catholic side of things or otherwise. I've done interviews where I've told people that, where they try to troll me, and I'm like, I really don't care what you have to say.
Yeah. No, that's that's using stoicism, and I'm the same way. A stoic, if they say you're the stupidest person I ever met in America, a stoic would reply, "Are you saying I'm not the stupidest person in Europe?" It's like whatever you say to me, just it's like water off a duck's back. Who cares what your opinion is? You can't insult me because I don't care about you. It's really simple.
Mm-hmm. No, it's the truth. Yeah.
So I want to get, because I know we only have
let's see here. We could go like about 8 more minutes. Can we get through 2 points in 8 minutes? We probably can, right?
Yeah. So we talked about this. I came out with a video called "Use Authoritarian Symbols," and I told the story about my fire chief neighbor who walked out in the middle of the road and had everybody obeying his hand signals, even though he wasn't in uniform or anything like that. He did it by body language, but he did it using the king strategy. So in certain circumstances, you have to brazen it out. You have to pretend. And it's, they give this advice when you go into job interviews and things like that too. You got to pretend that you own the place. You have to be, confident and strong and unwielding. So sometimes you need that strategy and sometimes you don't. Depends on the circumstances, but you need to be aware that you have three ways of dealing with deception, right? Now, the second strategy is the fool strategy. This is well known in Chinese military strategies. Playing the fool, feign insanity is in the 36 strategies. And I'll tell you how I used this. Just about a couple of months ago, I took the commuter train into Toronto. Now, I never buy a ticket. I just get on it. And rarely do they ask you for a ticket. What I will do is usually if you search around the machine that issues the tickets, you'll find a bunch of expired tickets laying on the floor or in the garbage can nearby. I'll take one of those expired tickets and stick it in my pocket. Now, the one time, son of a gun, here comes a transit authority, and they're checking for tickets. So I knew I already had my cover story, and I already had my strategy. And my strategy was going to be the fool strategy, because now I'm 64, so, I'm more a senior. I'm almost retired, to retirement age. So my fool strategy is to fake dementia.
Right. Yeah, you thought you were in Disneyland for a minute, right?
Yeah. So they came up to me and they're going up the car, up the car, and they're checking everybody. Most people have plastic cards. I don't have that. So they got to me and they said, "Oh, do you have your something pass?" I forget what it was called. I said, "No, I don't." Like, I'm really confused. And now they're going, "Well, you need to have." I said, "But I got a ticket." "Oh, okay. Well, let us see your ticket." Well, now I go into my stalling routine. And that's part of the strategy, too. You got to stall these people, right? You got to make it so frustrating for them. So I said, "Oh, okay, wait a minute. I got a ticket here." I look in my back pocket. I pull out some lint and some nonsense or some receipts from a store. Oh, is this it? No, that's not it. Hold on. I look in my front pocket. I pull out some lint, some receipts or something. Is this it? Oh, no, that. Okay, I look in my other front pocket, pull out some lint, pull out some pieces of paper. Is this it? Oh, no. Wait, I know I have it here somewhere. Look in my back pocket. I pull out some lint, And now I can see they're getting restless, okay? They're getting very restless. I said, oh, I think it's in my backpack. So I take off my backpack. I start going through it. The 15 pockets, of my backpack, searching around. Now I've just sucked up 15 minutes of their time. They're getting really impatient. They want to move on. And I'm just pretending like I don't know what's going on. Oh, I know I bought a ticket. It's here somewhere. Wait a minute. Wait, hold on. Now, just when they're about to issue me a fine, I find the ticket. I go, "Oh, here it is," and I hand it to them. Now, at this point, they're so frustrated and they're so sick of me, they never looked at the dates on the ticket. The ticket was expired already, As soon as I pulled it out, they saw it was a ticket. They didn't even take it out of my hands to look at it. They just said, "Oh, okay," and then they moved on. Look, this is the fool strategy. I got out of a $500 fine by using that strategy. I got out of paying exorbitant government-enforced ticketing fees by using the fool strategy. And I've used this fool strategy many times in my life, and it works really good. Just pretend you don't know what's going on. You're an idiot. Okay, finally, the sage strategy. Now, this is only for poker players, okay? And this is a strategy in which you say the things and you exhibit nonverbal communication to provide a different message than you are really implementing. A different different signals than what you're really doing. So you could, for example, if you're playing poker, let's say you have a tell. And for those that don't know, a tell is a nervous gesture that poker players try their best to suppress when they have a good hand and when they are bluffing. So a lot of times their blink rate will increase, or they'll lean further back in their chair, or they'll fiddle with their cards in a certain way. These are called tells. And these are ways that you give away what you're really thinking. Now, you can't do that when you live under communist tyranny. So instead, what you do is you give away a bunch of false tells. It's kind of tricky. You got to think about this. For example, I'm trying to think of an example here. It's not coming to me.
You're using one of your strategies on me right now, aren't you? I'm just kidding.
Actually, Eric, that would be exactly how it works.
And I know. I was waiting for you to put like a punchline on me or something.
That is
testing it out on you, Eric.
So, anyways, then there's ways to behave when you're innocent, and there are ways to behave when you're guilty. So let's go over those quickly then. So you've got basically three strategies. One, say, do nothing. You're in charge. Everybody else has to, jump to your tune. The second strategy, pretend you're a fool, pretend you have Alzheimer's, pretend you're drunk, pretend you don't know what's going on, so that people get frustrated with you and they don't take you seriously. There's an old movie from the 60s called The Scarlet Pimpernel, in which a British aristocrat helps French aristocrats escape the communist takeover of France that we call the French Revolution. Right? But that was a communist organization, and just like in France, they'll be rounding you up and sending you to the guillotines. So, but his way of escaping that was the sage strategy. He assumed a persona that no one took serious. Nobody believed this guy would be capable of being a counter-revolutionary or being a freedom fighter. So that's the sage strategy. You give off. If it was me, I would assume a lisp. I would say, "Oh, no, we're not talking about black market. We're just getting together with the boys, and you're frightening me a little bit. And look, like this is the kind. You have to be a bit of an actor to be able to pull this off, and it's only for those that have a high IQ. But those that are listening to Eric having a high IQ, or otherwise you wouldn't be listening.
No, yeah, we're the cream of the crop here. I've said this to my folks. Yeah, we're like the Green Berets. We're able to sift through all the BS. So yeah,
exactly. So if I have to pretend to be gay or cross-dresser, I'd put on a wig, slap on some lipstick. Trust me, nobody's going to take you seriously. They will never guess you're running guns.
Right? Yeah. No. Yes. You gotta. Oh man, it's one of those things, folks, where I know most people don't want to think about it, but if you don't think about it ahead when it finally hits you, and you don't have all these strategies, at least having rehearsed some of those strategies, you're not gonna stand any chance. You know what I mean? And again, I think this is what separates my followers from other people. I'm just gonna say like this from other Catholics, because I run into other Christians who are like, well, why in the world would I want to try to live through that, Eric? Like if the communist regime comes here and they got the guillotine set up, well, I'll just be martyred and go off. And according to Christian teaching, they would be a martyr. Yeah, I get that. But I've also pointed out from Christian teaching, if you fight back, right, and crusade like faction and take out some of them before you go, you're going to go to heaven in accordance with church teaching all the same. So why not fight back? So my whole thing is a little bit different in the Christian world. And I think that's why people find me a little bit odd. It's like we're trying to actually get through what I call a great storm, this great communist tribulation period that Scripture kind of forewarns about us. And this is why survivalism and prepping has always been a part of this apostle. And this is why we bring people like you on, because we're trying to learn these strategies. Matter of fact, I bought a dozen more books even through Amazon in regards to some of what you're talking about today, like hiding in plain sight, how to behave, how to act, And we of course want to promote your stuff here too in a second. But these are tactics that we're going to need to know for the future, as sad as it is.
Yes, it is. And you know what you and I have been focusing on is that our listeners survive. Listen, if it falls into the hands of the evil ones if you just kill yourself. Oh, I don't want to fight back. I'll just become a martyr. Well, they're happy about that. That's their plan.
And if everyone did that, they would win. If everyone did that,
they would win.
Yeah.
I know. So now, I'm not. Yeah, okay. So you're just going to martyr yourself. But what about your children? What about your grandchildren? What kind of a world are you leaving for them? You know, stop thinking about yourself. Oh, it's going to be hard. Yeah, it's going to be hard. Oh, you have to be brave. Yeah, well, you have to be brave. You have to think this out in advance and have some kind of a strategy in mind that when you're stopped and searched and questioned by the communist state, that you survive that encounter and look after your family and your children and your grandchildren. And even if you don't have children, do I want to see my neighbors' kids grow up and live in a world that I left behind because I decided just to martyr myself and go straight to heaven? You know, to me, there's nothing more selfish than that. And it plays right into the hands of the evil ones. So what we've been talking about, Eric and I, for the last, 10 interviews is you must survive this so that you can fight back and rebuild a better world once we are finally able to rid the world of these demons.
Yeah, wow. Well, that was powerful 2 minutes. Finishing up here with Stefan Verstappen from China Strategies. What can we help you promote this month, Stefan? You got an awful lot.
Well, my best deal for everybody is the Survival Library. It's $39.95 US. You get 280 books that cover every facet of survival, homesteading, food, water, medicine, how to fix machines, how to improvise alternative sources of energy, horticulture, farming, small guerrilla tactics, firearms handling. It covers everything you could possibly need. Plus, you get all my books, and that's the Survival Library, and you can find it on my website, www.chinastrategies.com. And it's got nothing to do with China. It's based on my first book called China Strategies.
Right.
So you're not supporting China in any way.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah, get on and take advantage of that deal, folks. With Stefan will be joining us next month. We'll be picking back up with what I was talking about in regards to, being organized sort of behind the scenes. How can we stay as structured as possible? Counteracting moles and all that good stuff. We'll pick back up there next month. And on my end, web conferences, folks, if you want to pick up any of them, contact me at apostlemary@hotmail.com. I want to thank all those who recently donated to this independent work. Again, I don't pertain to the commie left or Zio right, sort of an independent floater, if you will, a political atheist, even more so. So please do help out. And thank you all those in advance who do. Marie Julie Jahedi movie is still available on Vimeo, and it kind of ties into the conversation today because according to the Catholic model, it's basically surviving the Antichrist Hunger Games, and then we get to this point where in Catholic prophecy indicates of sort of divine retribution, the 3 days of darkness, where in accordance to Catholic prophecy, 3/4 of the world perish. The communist regime, all the enemies of the church perish literally in 70 hours by the hand of God. So that's basically how we see it. We're trying to survive through the communist Hunger Games, and then God takes care of them for us. And then everything's sort of reset, and then we're able to sort of rebuild a society again. So there's a movie in part on it that I have on Vimeo, vimeo.com. Type in 3 Days of Darkness. Check it out. Hope you all enjoy it. 2.5 hours long. But again, gift subscriptions are available to Triad Cat Night. Please keep mentioning it to your priests, family members, church members, 75 plus podcasts a month. And by the way, I failed to mention on this podcast and to Stefan, I've got 2 strikes back on my YouTube channel yet again. This is like the 6th or 7th time over the past 2.5 years or whatnot. So I'm using my backup channel right now. They won't even let me upload to the main channel. So I don't know. I could be the next big name to be pulled down on YouTube. So we'll see how that goes. I'll be getting on over to the Gabs, the Parlors, and all these other places a little bit later today. Until next time, my good friends, stay safe and God